everybody, it is Calxiyn and Hunter here. If you guys enjoyed this video, you guys should be on patrons over on Patreon to support the channel, but you guys should subscribe because we try to do RWBY videos every day. And, yeah.
We try.
We're going to talk about Adam today.
Yes.
Because he is deformed and ugly.
Not deformed.
Sort of.
Deformed. I mean, deformed. I always hear deformed and I think you're like Quasimodo, like you were
I
born
knew
like
you
that.
were going to say that. I knew that you were going to. But anyway.
Doesn't his name mean half-formed? Anyways.
I'm surprised you remembered. But yeah.
I remember.
Hunchback of Notre Dame is my favorite Disney movie, in case anybody is curious. So I'm kind of obsessed. But yeah. So Adam has been branded, basically. Yes. He was branded by,
face.
We can assume, the Schnee Dust Company because it says SDC.
I thought it said
on
SOS. Which I didn't, but at first I was just like, well, that's an odd way of asking. I mean, clearly branding yourself would be a cry for help, but I feel like there's easier ways of doing that.
You kind of said this in our other videos, but it's just sort of like, they've gotten a lot better with show don't tell. Like, it's not like Adam went on a monologue about the Schnee Dust Company. It's all literally in its face.
It's implied multiple things. So we got branded, so you think they're a slave, so you hear about like questionable labor practices. There was probably, slavery. I always thought it'd be funny if the rabbit fawns that work in the mines were called dust bunnies.
Hunter, no. Anyway, continue.
So you learn a lot about that. You see, like, so presumably when you would brand the slave, you wouldn't do it on their face. You'd do it on their arm or like some other part of their body. But he got in the face. I'm guessing maybe he was misbehaving.
I'm guessing Adam is like disobedient to some extent.
And so maybe he
like
got branded
sort of
bad.
Uprising or something.
There was also you feel like if you were like,
maybe he tried to run away and then people were like, well, we're gonna put it right on his face, so then
they know.
So then people know, he can't just hide it under his jacket, right?
Like you get with a lot of branding, it's like it tends not to look that like horrible, like how it's like puffy and pink and almost red like and it's scattered. I feel like that it almost looked like it was infected.
I feel like he was also probably struggling. Like, I'm pretty sure that they went for the forehead maybe, but then because he was struggling, they got him in the eye.
I don't know.
Unless they're really that terrible.
I think at a certain point, after you're branding someone, it's like, might as well do it on the eye.
I guess, but I feel like if you want it, like, in the Schnee Dust Company way, like, say I was Jacques. Jacques probably didn't do this. He probably just
I don't think Jacques himself, policy. Presumably someone significantly more down the line.
And so what I'm thinking is that Jacques still wants productivity, and getting somebody in the eye is not productivity. You know what I mean? That hurts your workforce, and so I feel like that whatever they were doing was probably enough so people could still work. But then,
here's
like
what
that
I
bad.
don't
you know
think.
What I
mean? I think he got it on his face, and it also looked like it was infected, like he was thrown somewhere in like a prison or something, like someplace dirty. So I almost feel like he was like, "This is what happened if you misbehave," and they.
Like maybe used an example out of it.
Yeah, and they threw him in the hole.
I kind of like the idea though that because Adam struggled, it turned out worse. Like, for him, that he was also, like, always sort of somebody who was fighting and all that stuff. And that kind of makes sense that, too, in the Adam trailer, they go for the Schnee Dust Company, like, processing thing. Like, that's the first thing Adam does with all these people. And so I wonder if either that's what got Adam branded, or that's what Adam decided to do after he was branded, and that's why he puts the mask on, and that's why his friends all know, because they all were.
But he already had the mask on in that first scene in the Adam trailer.
But
he walks up and he puts.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and so I wonder if it's after he's been branded, right? Okay. Like as a form of rebellion, this is what they decided to do, because his friends don't react to his face, and so they would probably already know. And so my sort of idea is that
that's where he was the one that started
that sort of, because that guy is just like, oh, I'm not even allowed near processing. Like, I work in labor, I'm not even allowed near processing, right? And so I'm thinking all of his friends or whatever, like they all saw what happened, they all knew what happened, and so after he sort of joined the White Fang, they sort of did this with him, like as their own form of rebellion. I think that would be kind of cool for Adam's backstory in a way that, like, he was sort of this fighter, like with the Schnee Dust Company. He goes to join the White Fang, and then he goes back to where he was branded to kind of help or save or whatever you want to call the people that were alongside him. So you can see that, it's time we get what we deserve. That's probably why he said that, because they had been mistreated there. And I think that I really like that sort of as just a concept, that was like the first place that Adam like liberated, I guess. Like that was the place where he himself was like tormented and abused by Schnee Dust Company workers. And then he joins the White Fang, and then he sort of moves away from that. But they do target the Schnee Dust Company a lot, and I feel like Adam may have had a personal vendetta in the past, but obviously it's transferred over to Blake because he says this, you know, other people have given me scars, but you left me alone. And when he said that, I actually sympathized with him a bit. I was just like, oh, that's so sad. But then I was like, wait a minute. Like, no.
You see that this dude is clearly like 17 different types of fucked up.
You guys will sort of see in my reaction, I have this moment where I'm like, oh, but that's so sad. You know what I mean? And then I'm like, wait a minute.
He's a sad human being. He's lived a hard life.
I said this in our analysis, but I think that you can have some empathy for him without condoning his actions.
That's
you know
human nature to have a certain degree of empathy.
Yeah, I do feel bad. I mean, even like
he probably would have been all right had he
not
not been
he probably would have
up.
been all right. But if he truly believes that Blake is the best thing that happened to his life and that he'll never have anything like that again, that's again not condonable behavior, but it is understandable if he's been through all this shit and he found that one thing and he's trying to hold on to it, but he just can't let go. You know what I mean? And it sort of skewed his perception and made him delusional. That's understandable. That's obviously, he shouldn't be doing that regardless of circumstance, but I feel you, Adam, sort of.
Sort of.
Or I feel for you, I should say. I don't feel you, I feel for you.
To a certain extent.
To a certain extent. To a degree, you know? And I feel like they do a good job of that.
350 degrees.
Because
the perfect temperature for a branding iron.
Maybe I'm just easily swayed. I don't know.
Yes, you are.
Okay, maybe I'm just easily swayed, but I felt sympathy for him. I don't think, Hunter, you had a reaction, at least saying, like, oh,
I was like,
so
oh,
sad.
that's fucked up. Like, I'm just like, well, I mean, that explains things. It wasn't exactly,
but I do like that they've gotten better with the show don't tell sort of thing. And I do like
that
it's not we can sort of interpret his backstory based on what we've got. Like, maybe that's not the answer, but I feel like that makes the most sense.
And it's nebulous, and I dig it, yeah.
But yeah, so... something else that we should talk about, though, is people are like, well, is Adam a silver-eyed warrior because his fucked up eye is silver? And I'm like, guys, I'm not, like, stop! it's over! No. You know what I mean? Because I like the silver-eyed warrior theory, personally, because I thought it would be good contrast with RWBY, like, for Yang to remember and Blake to remember, sort of, their tormentor was a silver-eyed warrior, and then to question RWBY and her sort of, I don't want to say her innocence, but her, if she'll turn out to be a monster, but it's like, no.
I don't know if I like that as much.
I like the contrast with it, and I feel like they should show that contrast eventually. It doesn't need to be with Adam. I feel like they should show an evil
RWBY should be like, you used to be a terrorist. Give me this one, okay?
What do you mean, to Blake?
Yes.
Oh, that would
be the other way.
Oh, I see. Like in that scenario, like you guys aren't that innocent.
It fucking squeeze me.
Yeah. But I feel like an evil silver-eyed warrior would still do good for the show. It doesn't need to be Adam. Adam doesn't need to fulfill that role, but you can have a silver-eyed warrior down the line who is evil and does make the group question RWBY.
Also, do silver-eyed people always have to be? Are there like a silver-eyed baker?
What do you mean? They're destined to be great warriors, but that doesn't mean they have to be great.
Like, what if they're just like, but you know, destiny.
I had a theory though that. And Maria says this, that like, the eyes are to preserve life. So what if RWBY has a natural inclination to preserve life? So she never would have been a baker. Because I talked about this, and I thought that...
People need to eat.
I thought originally that RWBY had a natural inclination to do good and be a hero. That was my theory before. But then people were like, well, if Adam has silver eyes, he's not doing good, which he doesn't. So my theory could still withstand.
Maybe
but I'm
good is subjective to the person who's doing the act that is good.
Preserve life is still sort of what I was going for, like, to be a hero, to preserve life. And so if silver eyes have that natural inclination to do so, that would sort of be interesting to have an evil one down the line for, like, that sort of contrast, like, for people then to look at RWBY and be like, well, could she turn into a monster like that because they're destined for something, like, they're destined to be warriors? Could she turn bloodthirsty and whatever? But yeah, that didn't happen, so that's okay. But we did theorize that Adam was deformed in some way. I don't want to say deformed. You said branded, which is better. But we did think that he had sort of a facial scar. In terms of how he's gonna die, we did other videos on that, so I don't feel like going over it again. But we've had a bunch of different theories, from him turning into a Grimm, from him, both him and Yang falling into the cliff or the waterfall area, as we see now, and Yang popping her arm off. So, like, we talked about that last week. We just changed cliff to waterfall area, which is still kind of a cliff. So.
I don't actually remember the arm popping off. So
I said that on Twitter.
Okay.
So, You guys can see it. It has 100 likes, so it's pretty verified.
I can't remember if I follow you on Twitter or not.
Okay. Anyway, so this is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed.
I think I follow you on Twitter. I take that back. I follow you on Twitter.
Bye. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you guys want to support the channel, you guys should be patrons just like our wonderful patrons whose names will come on the screen now. $10 patrons get videos sometimes 2 weeks in advance, sometimes 3 weeks in advance, basically much earlier than anyone else. They can also request us to do a video for them, so this could be a reaction, a theory, a discussion, anything like that. Our $5 patrons get a week in advance early access, or somewhere within that time frame, so between 2 days early and 7 days early basically, but usually it's 7 days early because I'm good with my scheduling. Anyway, our $1 patrons and all of our patrons above the $1 tier get access to our Discord server, so if you guys want to talk with us, talk with other fans of whatever you're watching right now, you guys can, and I hope that we will see you there. Bye.